Hi everyone, welcome to you all in the GuiNet technologies. So again, in continuation of our Versa SD-WAN training module, let's continue the controller deployment. Okay, so let me share my screen and then we'll understand how the controller deployment is going to happen. So till previous classes, we understand how basically Versa Director can be deployed, how the Versa Analytics can be deployed, how they can exchange the certifications to just onboard to each other on the Versa Director portfolio and the Versa Director single panel plus. You can see here the Versa Analytics having the full feature available right now. So earlier it was not, but once I have done the licensing and all, it just starts showing the complete feature of the Versa Analytics as well. So it will take a while time and then it will be appear here. So it's right now V Director plus V Analytics, right? These are the completely functional. They are the working. Now the next term is to just deploying the Versa Director. Okay, so you can see in this Versa SD-WAN, we can see the Versa SD-WAN site map path, but nothing is showing right now because it's not fully configured. Not site is onboarded, no controller is configured. So let's start the controller configuration step by step. Once the controller is going to be configured, that probably our headed deployment will be the completed, and then we'll start onboarding the branch locations. So all the branch location, whatever we have in the our topology, you can see a different branch I have. So all branch I will start onboarding on the SD-WAN fabric. So some of the branches basically on the internet, some are on the MPLS. So these all are going to onboard on the SD-WAN fabric. So what I can do next, so let's start the controller deployment. So in the controller deployment, if I go the lab guide, which I just created for you all. So you can see here in this Versa SD-WAN controllers, we just define this IP address, right? So northbound IP address we already have defined. So if I go in the CLI, you just write here the CLI command. So you'll go in the CLI mode of the Versa Director. That is a same iOS, which is used for the branch routers and the Versa controller. And if you run the command, so interface brief. So you'll see this is the IP address which I just deploy on the interface Ethernet 0x0. You can see, so this is my IP address 192.168. That is a northbound IP address. There is no IP address we define on this VNI interface. That is a southbound IP address. So if I go in the topology, let me show you again. So you can see this is the VNI 0x0, but you can't find any IP address. So we'll deploy that as well. And then finally we'll onboard the controller. So what next step I'll do here, basically, I will, let me just go on the step-by-step configuration. We already make the configuration persistent as well for this IP configuration for the northbound. So now it's time to just create the Versa overlay network configuration. So what is the overlay network configuration? So because we having a two kind of the network, one is the underlay, one is the overlay. So we'll understand what is the underlay versus overlay. In next session, I'll explain what is underlay, what is the overlay. So basically for time being, you just understand there is two kind of the connectivity. One is the underlay, one is the overlay. Any of the SD-WAN you are going to study, these two terms probably you will get everywhere. So we'll understand separately after this control deployment. Just after this control deployment, I'll explain what is the underlay and what is the overlay. So you guys understand about this overlay and underlay concept. So just think right now, we just have to build the overlay topology based on the subnet 172.16.0.0/16. So this is my subnet that is going to use for the overlay, right? So this is going for use for the overlay. So in this overlay subnet, what is going to happen? Might be we'll build the some temporary tunnel, some private tunnel, that is the IPsec tunnel, and over that we'll run the MPBGP. Okay, so MPBGP is like the protocol which is going to run between the Versa controllers and between the branch routers. Whatever we having the branch router, they are going to run this basically this BGP. So everywhere you are going to use the BGP because this is the SD-WAN router. So Versa controller and the branch location you are going to run the BGP. If you are using the SD-WAN, this protocol is replaced by the OMP. Okay, overlay management protocol, and this is the broader gateway management, broader gateway protocols. So I'm not going to the OMP and the SD-WAN solution because we having a dedicated syllabus for that. So let's understand how basically this controller going to be configured. So now we're done with the IP configuration. So now we just have to go and start doing deployment of the overlay network subnet and its configuration. So what I do, I'll just have to go on the Versa director. After going in the Versa director, I'll go in the administrator tab, and if I go in the administrator, I have to go in the SDWAN and setting. If you go in the SDWAN and setting, you can see already there is a 172 network has been defined. So what I'll do, I'll delete it. Somehow I just define. I'll start from beginning. So let me see if I can delete it. So basically I'm not able to delete. So let me just remove first static routing, then I'll delete it. So basically this is not possible to delete from here. So I'll go in the system and I'll delete the static routing first. Let me see if they're having the static route already available here. Yes, so this is the region. So let me just delete this one first. This has been deleted. So now I'll go in the SD-WAN. If you're doing the first time, this is not available, but in previous session I was trying to do, but there was some issue. So I just stopped and forgot to delete. Still, I'm not able to delete. What error it is giving? Let me see. So overlay network. It is what error? I'm trying to delete. Yes. Okay. Why it is not allowing to delete me? Let me see if it's somewhere called. I don't think it is called anywhere. Because the controller lab, we don't have anything configured. Let me just see. Organization, do we have anything configured here? No. No. In the SDWAN setting, there is nothing has been configured. I just configured, but why it is not deleting? Should be delete. Static routing, there is no static routing. Let me just commit one more time. There's no device selected to commit, so it is not going to commit. No worry. So see, I was just trying to delete it, but it is not able to delete. No worry. I'll explain why it is not deleted. I'll literally search out why it is not deleting. But what you have to do, let's say suppose you want to create any of the overlay network. So once you log in it, this tab will be not available. So you just have to click on this particular window and you just have to define. Let's say suppose I want to define another subnet like 192.168. This is subnet I want to use for my overlay, or I can use 10.10. Let me just use 11.11.0.0/16. So see, this is my subnet I just created. So might be it is going to give remote server. Let me just log out and log in. Might be this could be the one reason because it's giving the errors. Let me just log out and I'll try to log in again. Administrator. Funny behavior should be deleted because nowhere it's called. I don't know why it is giving some such kind of funny behavior. Administrator. Let me just log in. So here probably I can log in into the Versa director. Let's see. So now you can see I'm in the Versa director. Let me just go in the settings and let me one more time take a chance to try to delete it. Let me see it's deleting or not. And it's deleted. You can see. So it's very funny. I don't know what was the issue. So just I log out and log in. Sometimes it happens. Okay. So if you face such kind of issues, somehow configuration is not pushing, not deleting, you try to do any configuration your face, just try to log out from director and log in again. It will just going to help you out. Okay. So you can see now I don't have any overlay network. So I have to define the overlay network that is for the your tunneling, like building the tunnel between controller to branch locations. So that subnet is going to use, and I'll explain how it is going to be used. Okay, in later stage. I'll show over the how this VTI like permanent tunnel and the other virtual tunnel, temporary tunnel is going to build, and based on that, how they are going to form the BGP neighborship in the later stage. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just follow this step and I'll just define the overlay network settings. So how can I define the overlay network settings? So you just have to follow there and just have to click on this particular button. You can see every step is written here. So I am just already in the side of the controller, you can see, and this is my lab guide. So what I'll do, I'll go and create here. And what is my subnet? You can see this should be /16. Let me just make as correction. So this is 0/16, not 24. This is my overlay network. So I've just used here. And now I'll go and put the subnet here. 16 0.0/24. So this is my overlay network. I just created here. So now my overlay network has been created. So this is the first step. Now what next? I have to just define the static route. Okay. So you can say this is a complete subnet. Oh, sorry, I make a mistake. Should be not 24, should be 16. Okay. So let me just correct it. So you can see this is a total usable IP address 65536. Okay. So this is my total usable IP address for tunneling and all. And now I'll go and define the static route. So where I can go, I will go in the administration system again. And here is my static route. In this static route, I'll just add the static route. And for what I am going to add the static route for that overlay network. So I'll define what is my overlay network and what is my next hop. So at least my controllers also can understand about my networks, right? So my controller can also understand about the network. So the next hop, what I'll put, this is my northbound IP address, not northbound, that is southbound IP address, which is connecting to the devices. Okay, so basically I have to define some kind of the static route, and also I have to put the next hop. So might be next hop I'll create here in the switch for this particular controller point of view. If I create, it is going to work. If I am not going to create, it is also going to work because they are going to stay in the same subnet. So better I'll just follow the standard. Might be this switch is not in the same subnet, they are belong to different subnet. So I'll create one of the SBI here for this next hop. So why it is required? So you can see next hop IP address it is going to ask here. And if you define the next hop IP address, might be you can define the next hop IP address that is just for your controller IP address, which is just connected to this controller. But you also have to define next hop interface address also. And you just have to fill the one more information when you define the actual configuration for the controllers. Might be the later stage we have to define. I'll show you. So probably we have to define in this place. You can see the gateway. So this is the gateway for that. When we define, then we need to configure some IP address. So what I'll do now, I will just go and configure this particular step. So here my step. So I can just route overlay network static route. So I'll just put overlay network static route. And this is my subnet, that is 172.16.0.0/16. Okay, but in my next hop, so this next hop which is connected to this particular IP address. So for this controller subnet point of view, this is the next hop. Through this VNI interface, it is going to reach to the other controllers. Okay. So I'll just put 123.10.10.3. What is the Ethernet address? That is basically Ethernet 1. So this VNI, whatever VNI interface I have right now, this is just going to act as a Ethernet 1, because E0 we already use here for this outbound connection. So how basically we confirm that? You can see this is the Ethernet 0 already used. So next one is the Ethernet 1, which is going to use under this virtual interface. Okay, so I'm just going to use Ethernet 1. So if you're not using that particular Ethernet 0 interface, then you can start calling this interface as a Ethernet 0 for your configuration. This is Ethernet 1, 2, and 3. But if you already used, then you can start from 1. So I'll go and I'll make as a Ethernet 1 as a physical interface. So after defining this, let's say this is my lab guide. I have the configuration. and I'll go and I'll just click OK. So this has been done. So this configuration of the static route deployment has been done. What next I have to do? Next, I have to add the controller and the organization under the workflow. So I have to just go in the workflow. Why organization name is going to require? So because whatever the controller versus director versus analytics, they should belong to one organization. So there is two way of defining the organization. You can just go here and define the organization by clicking here as well. Or if you go in the workflow and you are just trying to deploy the controller informations, configure the controller information, during that also you can deploy the organizations. So either way you can deploy that. So if you go in administration, if you deploy the organization here, it's possible you can do that by clicking on here. But if you're not deploying here, you just go in the workflow and just add from here. And after going to add, if you just see here, there is no organization name. So better you just create first organization to just deploy it. So I'll create the organization here. I'll just put the organization name as a lab1, or whatever you can just think, or you can just put the GuiNet. Let me just put GuiNet _lab. So this is my organization name. I can just change the name GuiNet. So this is my organization name. So you can see I just clicked on this step, create the organization. So two way I just explain, and you can select either of the way. And after selecting, just put the organization name. And then after putting the organization name, you just have to define the Versa cluster information. So Versa director, Versa analytics cluster. Okay. VAN. Okay. So I'll go here and you can see here's a cluster. You just go in the add. You will go in the drop down and you will find the cluster, which is already defined. Okay. So this has been done. Now we can just click on the supported user roles. So these are the supported user roles: tenant dashboard operators, tenant operators, tenant security admin. So we having a different role. You just need to add all, or might be you can add as per your company policy what they want to define for this particular organization. Okay. So in organization point of view, I would suggest just add all. Okay. So we define the organization name. We define the analytics cluster information. We just added the roles, and now we are good with that configuration. So I'll just click OK. So now we're done with the organization name configuration. You can see this has been put here, organization name. Now we just have to define the controller name. So this is my controller. I can put my controller like GuiNet controller. I can just put, let me just put GuiNet controller. Or better, I can just follow the lab guide. So it is easy for you all. Controller 1, no need to worry. So you can see as per the lab guide, I can just put the name controller. Okay. And organization already I selected. And here I select this template for the whatever I am creating for this particular controller that can be used for the staging controller and the post staging controller. It is going to work in the both way. So if you are doing the staging and if you also use for the post staging, it is going to help you to build the tunnel and all. Okay. And on board the sites. So this is how I have done. Now I have to define the IP address. This IP address, basically, it is your northbound IP address, which is going to connect to your management interface. So I'll just go and define the northbound IP address, which is my 192.168.10.3. So this is my IP address. Once it will do, it will try to make the communication with this IP address. If it is valid, then it is okay, as it will throw out the error. So you can see it is reachable. If I'll give some wrong IP address, it is throwing the error. This IP is not reachable. Okay. So let me just show you. If I'm going just put the like any IP address like 7. See, it will try to reach and it will throw out the error. This IP is not reachable. See, the failed to connect this IP address because it is not reachable. So better I can just use a 3. And once I leave it, it will try to make the connection and it see now it identified. Now it is saying what is a Versa analytics cluster. So this is my cluster, WAN cluster. So I'll use this one. Okay. So this configuration also had been done, right? For what I'll do, I'll go in the location information, just continue. So if you go and it will move to location information, no need to put anything, just put the country information. So I'll just put the India. If you want to put the state, so I'll put the New Delhi. It's up to you. city, I can put the Delhi, right? And area address you can put. So anything you can put about the address and continue. Now it is going to ask the control network. So whatever the control network you are going to use to just make the connection throughout the southbound connection. So now the VNI interface information you just have to, you can see this VNI automatically populated. So just you have to define the configuration. So what is my name of the network? So I'll make the name of network control network. So this is going to use for the control purpose. Control network. So this is my control network, and this is my VNI interface, and this is the VLAN ID. Automatically, it is going to pick. And now it is going to ask what is the subnet mask and the IP address for the control interface IP address. So this is the actual IP we are doing the configuration here. So till now, we just have done the northbound configuration. Now actually, we're doing the configuration for the southbound interface. So this is what I'm doing right now. So I'll just define this IP address. So I'll go there. And after going there, I'll just put the IP address 123.10.10.3/24. This is how it is configured. This is a static. If you want to use the DSCP, it can be also configured. Now it is asking what is the gateway. So gateway, you can put any number or you can put a none. So for our case, it is not required because these all are the same broadcast domain. But let's say suppose this switch, you create one VLAN. Might be the VLAN 1 already created. So same, all ports are the part of the VLAN 1. Let me just show you. So you can see VLAN 1 is a part of the all ports. So 0 by 0, 0 by 1, 0 by 2, all are part of the VLAN 1. So by default, they are the same broadcast domain. But in case, let's suppose you have in the gateway to just reach to other devices and other controllers like directory analytics, some other IP address. So might be you can have the SBI created for different networks. But here nothing is configured. So what I'll do, I'll go in the interface VLAN, just to showcase you, and I'll assign the IP address 192.168.10.4, and I'll just put the IP address 255.255.0, and I'll put the no shutdown. Okay, do right. So let me show you. On VLAN 1, I just assigned the one of the IP address. Okay, so show IP interface brief. So see, this is the IP address I just assigned. So this acting as a gateway for this controller. It is not required, but I would recommend just do it in this way. So you're having a better understanding while doing the any lab practice. And in the production environment, if you're having some different kind of network, so at least you can recognize how it can be used. So I'm just closing it and I'll put the default gateways. Actually, I make something wrong. This should be 123. Am I assigned the correct IP address or 192? Oh, sorry, I make it wrong, right? This should be 123, not 192. So let me just go interface VLAN 1, and I'll just put the 123.10.10.4, and let me just replace the IP address. No shutdown, do right. So now it's corrected. So this has been done. And after doing this, so IP interface brief, you can see this is the IP address has been configured on this VLAN 1. So moving to next. So I'll go here again and I'll put the gateway is 123.10.10.4. So this is the gateway IP address. You can see this is the lab guide, and this I'll just make routing protocol. I want to enable thing. I'll say no, I don't want enable any routing protocol for time being. So I'll just click continue and next. And you can see here in the back, this is your VNI interface, which is just connected here, and automatically taken the VLAN ID 0. Sorry for that. Next, we just have to configure the VNI interface, gateway IP address detail and everything. So we just provide the control information by giving the gateway and IP address on this VNI interface. Now again, we just have to configure the type of the interface and what the circuit type, and that all information probably we just have to add from the WAN interface. So we just have to go in here, and I'll just add here then the name of the circuit which I'm going to use here. So I'll use make as a circuit as the MPLS. and description, I can use transport domain as MPLS, and I'll just click OK. So you can see, so one is the MPLS I'll create, one is the internet. Why it is going to require, I'll tell you. Okay, so one I created to the MPLS, and similarly I'll create to the internet as well. And this is my internet. It is very important because you can see this controller having a 2 circuit connections. So this interface has been configured, right? Now you just have to configure these also 2 interfaces, right? So this is having the VNI02, VNI01. So this having a different circuit, MPLS and internet. So then if you're defining the WAN connections, you can say these are the WAN interfaces. Then you just have to define the WAN circuit type as well. Okay. So now what I have to do, already I just defined the 2 MPLS and internet. So next I have to go and just configure the interfaces, which is going toward the ISP links. Okay. So here what we have to do, we just have to go the interface, which is the VNI 0 and 0 by 1 and 0 by 2. So you can say VNI 0 by 1 is the MPLS. So let's configure VNI 0 by 1. So I'll select it. VLAN ID, I'm not going to use anything, default one, and I'll make as a MPLS. So if you not define the network name by the WAN network, it is not going to show you. And the IP address, what I have to use, then just have to follow this one. So 10.10.10.2/24. So, and you can see even the lab guide also showing the same thing. So 10.10.2, and this is the IP address. So I'll just use 10.10.10.2/24. And what is the gateway? So gateway is the next hop ISP IP address. So this is 10.10.1. So I'll go and configure the 10.10.10.1. So this is the same thing. You can see in the lab guide also, I have the same configuration. And I need not to do anything. Everything has been done for this particular MPLS interface. Now I have to do the secondary interface, which is just connecting toward the internet this time. So MPLS has been done. So now let's configure 0 by 2. So this one has been done 0 by 2. So for this one, I have to use the IP address 122.10.10.2, and the gateway would be the 1, and network type would be the internet. So I'll go here and select the internet, and I'll use 122.10.10.2/24, and the gateway is 122.10.10.1. This has been done, and this has been also done. So we are good with the configuration. So once we're done with the configuration, we just have to deploy the controllers. Okay. So next I need to deploy, and then it is going to start deploying me. So we are in the last stage. So just deploy the controller. So controller configuration will be deployed, and the all IP address start populating here. So you'll see here. So let's now deploy controller. And deploy. Why it is giving the error? Okay, so it is asking some latitude and longitude. Let me see. See, this controller doesn't having any internet connection, so I can put any number. Okay, let me just put the number. Let me just wait. These buttons are grayed out, and we need to refresh again. Let me see. So till the time it is searching, we can't do anything. So let them complete. This searching is will be complete, then it could be anything. You can say this is searching. Just wait. Let them complete. Just still it's searching. So I'm just pausing the video. Let them complete, then we can continue. Okay. So guys, it's taking unusual time. Okay. So I just refresh it because it's not going next step and not getting option to deploy the controller. So probably we just have to start this process again. So let me just do quickly because every step, whatever we have done. So see, everything has been deleted. So we just have to do again the same process. So this lab is here. So I'll go here and I'll just put the controller. And this is the controller one. Okay. And this is the ID staging. I'll just make, and this IP address, I'll use that. This is 123.10.10.3. This is the IP address. For this project, basically, we just have to define the northbound IP address, not the southbound. So let me just verify. Yes. We just have to use the northbound IP address, not the southbound. So that's like getting the error. 10.3. So this has been need to be corrected. And this is my cluster. So this has been done. Nothing we just have to use. Then we just have to go in the location information. I'll use the India. State is like country is India. State is Delhi. Here I'll use the 23.11 and just 123.1. So this time it will not give the error. Any zip code you want to use, you can use. Okay. So this has been done. Network control. So I'll give the network name. So you can see I can just give the control network. We just have to give it. So control network. And this is the interface, and this is the IP address, that is 123 for this interface. We already know. We have to repeat this process because we having a problem. This is in the gateway. We just have to define 123.10.10.4, which is created on the switch. Okay. Routing protocol, nothing will be required. Okay, so that's fine. The continue. Here I'll go and add the MPLS network. So this is my the MPLS network, and here is my the MPLS. So this has been added. Oh, why? Let me just save this first. Okay, this has been saved. Let me just log out because it's giving the errors again. Sometimes it's having the bug, give the errors. So this time I will save the template. No need to create from scratch. Administrator and the password. So let me log in it and we'll try to complete this process. Just wait. And let me just go in the workflow again, controller. I'll open this controller. So already I've saved the template this time. So it is not going to start from basics. Always try to save the template. Last time I didn't save and we just have to suffer. So here I'll go and add the MPLS and I'll select the MPLS and this I'll click OK. View detail duplicate. Okay, it looks already it's completed. Let me see if it already is showing here. Yeah, it's already there. So last time we created, that's why it's giving the error. So this is my VNI interface. This is my IP address. It's a cache available. This is my gateway. This is my gateway. No need to do anything. So just select here. And staging WAN /28. It is always automatically calculate, but this time not calculate due to cache. So let me just make it /28. Okay, so this has been done. Now let me save it. This has been saved and I'll open it again and I'll deploy this template. Okay, so now it's everything has been configured successfully. So I just have to deploy this template. So now it is getting deployed. You can see controller is getting deployed. So it's 20% deployed, 30% deployed. Once it become the 100%, my controller will be fully deployed with the whatever the configuration we have done, and it is start uploading on the controllers. So let's wait. If you want to see the task status from here, you can see here as well. It's a deploying workflow is deploying for the controllers and what all it is doing. So creating the application in the DB, syncing the device configuration, setting up the organization configuration, successfully created the bare metal appliance, and this is the UIID and the pushing the default configuration for the interfaces. And you can see successfully it's completed. So task has been successfully completed. Here it also showing the green. So you can see it progress and that's completed. So now my controller has been deployed. Okay. So if I'm going here and if I try to see system is pushing the configuration as such and all, if I try to run this command, so let me just use the show interface and tab keyword. You can see this IP address automatically configured on these controllers. So you can see we having this IP address initially configured for the northbound configuration. This we define for the these two interfaces. You can see 0 by 0. You can see it is for the MPLS, and 0 by 2 it is for the internet. This also IP they have been taken, and this is for the VNI 0, which is the our southbound IP address. And these are the overall network. This is a temporary virtual interface. You can see this is the temporary TVI. So temporary virtual interface, and they have taken the IP address from this range for just building the tunnel from the different locations. So this has been fully deployed. And if I run the command show BGP summary, probably there is no BGP summary is going to be running because we don't have any site configured with the BGP. Okay. So hope it's clear. Let's move next. Moving next, our template has been fully deployed. And if I go on the finally on the analytics, I will get some good output. Earlier it was not, but if I'll go here, you'll find your organization name, your controller information because it's fully deployed. So let's wait. She's the pushing the information. Pushing the information. We just have to wait. You can see here. Now I have the one site and some critical alert. Some we having the critical alarm as well. And if you click on this site and the alert, you'll find that why this alert is. So it is related to controller. You can see this is a critical severity and might be the clear after some time. And you can see one site also you can find here. So site, if you go in the site, you'll find that availability graph and all, but right now there is nothing. Path and all, might will find all path will be down because the WAN end is still not configured here. Okay, so my controller is finally onboarded. All three head-end deployment has been done, and this is up and working. So if I want to talk to each other from the controller Versa director to analytics and this controller via the southbound API, a southbound interface, that is possible. Northbound is already we have tested it. Okay. So moving to next, what else I can show? So if I'm going in the configuration, this is my GuiNet. You can see this is my template. If I'm going to devices, you'll find the device is up and working. This is the controller, and you can see this is stitchability is fine. Config is synced and it is up and working. So this is how you can verify the device information from here as well. Okay. If you go the device group, we don't have any device group configured because we'll configure when the branch side device group and template, how it is going to create it, we'll create from here, right? If you go in the workflow,
you'll see the controller which is showing here. If you go in the devices, you click in the devices, you are finding nothing devices here. Template, nothing template because we're not configured. If you go to the organization, you are not finding any organization, but if you'll go here and check the organization, you'll find the organization which you just created. Okay. And if you go in the inventory and you just try to check the hardware, you'll find the hardware information when you just start onboarding the devices. So right now there is no branch location deployment has been done. So basically we don't have anything. So in later stage, what I'll do, because we controller deployment has been done. So the next stage, I'll explain first what is the underlay and overlay. And after that, we'll try to configure these ISP connections from the controller. So this ISP link need to be configured with the branch locations. And once this branch location ISP configuration has been done, so thus all site having the ISP link, then probably we can go and start onboarding one by one all the sites on the SD-WAN fabric. And once they onboard successfully, then we can just go understand the policy, template, other traffic is steering, the SLA monitoring, everything we'll discuss in very detail, VRRP. So whatever we having in the syllabus, you can see we have to discuss a lot of things here. So till now we just understand about the course, theoretical design, lab, right? And controller understanding we have, lab overview have, we understand the creation, the lab topology, getting the control node deployment. Okay, so this all we just completed till now. So next thing, we'll start deploying the branch. So it will take going to take much time because you just have to configure the step by step all the labs, right? And then we start deploying the branch with the help of the script and the JetP process and the URL process. So we'll see. And then we start onboarding, and that's the staging of the sites. Okay. And then the routing protocol verification, VRRP, DSCP, control plane examination, redistribution, DIA, and the application steering, application template, everything next generation firewall feature will cover it. So I hope it's fine for right now. We'll continue from the next session where we'll do the understanding about the overlay and underlay about the SD-WAN. Thank you.